So we've been following a theme, or I have in my talks the past few weeks on identifying your true nature. Uh, what is it when you look through the cracks between your thoughts, your emotions, your bodily sensations? What is that background? Because the background that we ignore continually is where the qualities that we're looking for in life, what we're hungry for, our peace, our sense of spaciousness, our sense of ease, our sense of at homeness, that whole list that I gave you last week resides. So I've got a trick today to help you again claim your own goodness, your own spiritual quality, and how to find it. It's a very simple trick. Start with Walt Whitman. He says gently, but with undeniable will, divest myself of the holds that would hold me. I inhale great draughts of space. No, great draughts of space. The east and the west are mine, and the north and the south are mine. I am larger, better than I thought. I did not know I held so much goodness. So he's pointing us to something again. Always look carefully at what they're saying to us. He's suggesting that these letting go of what binds us, what holds us, what grabs our attention, and inhaling great draughts of space, the spaciousness of our awareness, he begins to discover his true identity. So we're
One more.
Then Thomas Merton has this to say. Now, Thomas Merton, again, was one of the people that really spearheaded the ecumenical movement. He was a Cistercian monk and was assigned by the Pope to go and explore Eastern religion. And when he did, he discovered that there was a great deal of compatibility between Jesus's teachings and the teachings of the East. And he heartily encouraged people to study the spiritual disciplines, which he found much more effective in the East. It's rumored that he was killed by the Vatican for the work that he did because he died when an electric heater fell in his bathtub. Uh, Not exactly the kind of mistake that a man his caliber is liable to make, but it took him. Merton said, then it was as if I suddenly saw the secret beauty of their hearts, the depth of their hearts where neither sin nor knowledge could reach, the core of reality, the person that each one of us is in the eyes of the divine. If only they could see themselves as they really are. If only we could see each other that way all the time. There would be no more need for war, for hatred, for greed, for cruelty. Suppose the big problem would be that we would fall down and worship each other. Suddenly I saw the secret beauty of their hearts, the depth of their hearts where neither sin nor knowledge could reach, the core of reality, the person that each one of us is in the eyes of the divine. This is something I used to say in my lectures, and I want you for a minute to think about a person that you genuinely admire, maybe two or three people. Think about the qualities that they embody, that you treasure, their compassion, their insight, their wisdom, their sensitivity, their creativity, um, their calmness under pressure. Just take a moment. Okay. Everybody got something, someone, some quality that you admire? Raise your hand when you get it. Okay, most of you got something. Now, here's the trick. In AA, we have a phrase that goes, if you spot it, you've got it. Well, that's true of good things too, and we never think of it that way. We never think that when I admire a quality in someone else, if I didn't have that quality in myself, I wouldn't recognize it in them. Does that make sense? And it's one of the things that we're doing all the time, which is when we admire someone, we put someone up on a pedestal, we've just diminished ourselves because we're not claiming that quality in ourselves. The Greeks had the idea that when they went into the polis, the reason you went was to be seen, because you can't really see yourself in some way. But when I look at Linnell, I can see her spirit. What's that line that he says? There's secret beauty comes out. Okay. And I can see her secret beauty, and she can see my secret beauty. And how many times have you found that when you're dealing with a person? Everybody that I counsel, I fall in love with at some point, because I look at him and I go, oh my God, I see that divinity, that sacredness in them. Well, the eye in you that sees that has that. So I'm encouraging you to start paying attention to the things that you see in other people and claim that as a quality and an aspect of your own spirit. So before we start the meditation, let's just briefly, does anybody have any questions about this technique? Okay. Pretty simple, pretty straightforward. All righty. Then let's go ahead, see what, I think we're back with Jack today.
Let's see. We are at the body scan.
Okay.
Ooh.
Classic.
Okay. So I'm not sure who is going to guide us, but I'll ring the bowl after a full 20 minutes. So beyond what the guided meditation is, just keep going.
Mindfulness of the body translates directly into being more mindful in your life. There's a simple reason why it's so. Your body is always living in the present moment, right here and right now. When you're lost in thought, often some virtual reality, you can feel out of touch with what's actually happening in the present moment. It can become a habit that leaves us with an undercurrent of unease and dissatisfaction. We're busy remembering some recent interaction, evaluating plans for the future, and not having that truly gratifying sense of being relaxed and settled in our life as it is. I remember one of the first times I experienced this kind of full presence. It was after being introduced to mindful awareness of the body, and I was walking through the woods. It was early spring. I could smell the fragrance from the fruit trees blossoming. I could feel a gentle breeze on my skin, and my mind was quiet. And then I realized my body and mind were in the same place at the same time. It's such a seemingly simple thing, and yet there was a poignant sense of aliveness. I was a living part of the spring. Researchers have studied what happens to the brains of advanced practitioners as they meditate inside an MRI. They find that the part of the brain correlating with perceiving a boundary between self and others decreased substantially. This correlates with reports meditators make of feeling a sense of unification or connection to the whole. And with this comes a deep sense of peace, of being at home in life. It's expressed in a simple verse by the poet Li Po. The birds have vanished in the sky, and now the last cloud drains away. We sit together, the mountain and I, until only the mountain remains. Just as your breath can be an anchor for remaining present with your experience, being aware of the sensations throughout the body can also serve as an anchor, a home base for connecting with what's actually happening in the moment. And like the breath, by sustaining attention on your body sensations, you can settle a scattered mind. You can bring a sense of clarity and ease and well-being. In this session of Mindfulness Daily, we'll continue building mindfulness of the body with a scan slowly and systematically throughout the entire body. This is a powerful way to quiet your mind, collect your attention, and cultivate an awake and fully embodied presence. Find a comfortable position, either seated or lying down, and close your eyes. Take a few full breaths and release any tension with each exhale. And now allow the breath to be natural, relaxing with the in and out. Invite yourself to be right here, at home in your body. With this relaxed, open awareness, start by feeling the sensations at the top of your head. Notice tingling, pulsing, pressure, warmth, cool. And now gradually let your attention move down and feel the sensations on the back of the head, on either side of the head, to your ears. Notice the sensations through your forehead and eyes, inside the nose, the cheeks, the jaw and mouth. Take your time. You're offering a soft, receptive attention, not trying to change anything, simply curious about experiencing the life of your body just as it is. As you continue the scan, you may notice that in certain parts of the body, you feel no noticeable sensations or numbness. Please know this is common. Just let your attention remain in these areas in a relaxed way for a few moments. You may find as your attention deepens, you become aware of more subtle sensations. Now bring your attention to the area of your neck and throat. Notice without any judgment whatever sensations are present. And continue scanning now, being aware of your shoulders from the inside, feeling the aliveness and sensations. And sense the length and volume of your arms, and feel the sensations from the inside. Bring your attention to your hands. Feel them in an easy, effortless way. The fingers, the palms, the back of the hands. Noticing the tingling, pressure, cool, warm, pulsing, the life of the body. Now place your awareness inside your chest. Gently receive the sensations in the heart area, and now throughout the whole chest. And slowly allow your awareness to sink down into your stomach. with a soft, receptive awareness. Feel the sensations of your abdomen. And bring your attention to your upper back. Feel the sensations in the area around your shoulder blades. And slowly move down, be aware of the mid and lower back, and then the entire spinal column. Continue to let your attention sweep down slowly through the body. Let your awareness fill the pelvic region, receptive to the sensations in the hips and buttocks and genitals. And moving down, sense the length and volume of the legs. And bringing awareness, feel them from inside. And let your awareness fill your feet and toes. And now open your attention to include your whole body in a full way. Be aware of the body as a field of changing and floating sensations, a subtle energy field that vitalizes and gives life to every cell, every organ of the body. Rest in mindful awareness of this living body, witnessing, feeling this dance of energy, the aliveness that is you. As you move through the day, you might try pausing when you remember and do a mini scan, relax and awakening through the body. And then as you re-enter activity, notice the possibility of your mind and body being in the same place at the same time.
So, what y'all got?
I wanted to recommend that if you are ever having trouble getting to sleep at night and you're lying in bed and there's a lot going on in your head, a body scan is a great way to become aware of the places in your body that's holding tension. Whether it's your stomach or your shoulders or your jaw or wherever. As you work your way up your body, maybe from your feet on up, you can notice the tension and wherever it is and focus your relaxation on it. Breathe into that part of your body to help it relax. And by the time you get up to your eyebrows, your mind, I think that you're going to be a lot more relaxed and, better able to get to sleep.
Yeah, that's great. It is actually, the body scan is a part of a yoga nidra that is designed for deep relaxation. And, by focusing on the body, you have an opportunity then to sort of have a vacation from the mind. So yeah, it's totally, totally works. It's a great, great recommendation.
Well, I can tell you, Bart, that being outside made a big difference. Oh my God. And that I've been denying myself that. I don't like it, but I tend to isolate in my room when I'm triggered or whatever the fuck it is. And being outside, and he was talking about being outside and listening to the birds, and for the first time he was, what did he say, his mind and body were in the same place.
Same.
That's just like so simple, but so, you know it's it was awesome. I loved it, and I was able to relax, and maybe I wasn't paying attention the whole time because I turned my Merlin app on to hear the birds, and it picked up 3 birds.
Oh, I love it.
We have been known to do that ourselves.
A tufted titmouse, a northern cardinal, and a American crow.
Wow.
Yep.
Good for
So
you.
that was fun. Thank you.
Keep it on and I'll give you a cuckoo.
Well, I tell you what it didn't pick up was an American jet.
Gosh,
It went by.
I love it.
American Eagle.
Yes.
Who did the meditation called I Am That? Who was the guy that passed away? He lived in, it wasn't Ram Dass, but I think he lived in Hawaii. Anyway, when you recognize something, as Bart was saying earlier about someone else, so I'm kind of referring back to that little intro that you gave. It occurred to me, and his process, his meditation was then saying, I am that, and so I sort of looked at everybody on the screen and attributed a positive characteristic to everyone I see, and then by spotting that, you can say, I am that. So it's kind of a cool practice. Yeah.
I had, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, great. I had a really interesting experience with meditation this past Thursday. I'd gotten into a real pain sequence with my shoulder, and I called them up and I said, I got to come in. I need a steroid shot. I got to have it. You know, I'm hurting so bad. They said, well, you come in and you get it, and you're going to have your blood pressure under 144.
Mhm.
And this was on a day that I went and got my driver's license because I'm turning 75 tomorrow, riding to get my driver's license to get that, go through that experience, say, I can do this, and get myself over to Dr. Goodman's office. And of course, they take my blood pressure and it's 144 over 86. They said, you'll have to come back another day. I said, and then I laughed and I said, right, it's going to be any different another day, you know. And they said, we're giving you 10 minutes. You say you meditate. We're giving you 10 minutes to bring that blood pressure down. Good job. And so they were really kind about it, shut the door, gave me a blanket. So I went into, and then I channeled y'all. I said, I am at the group. And then I decided I was at Dorothy's place and laying on the table. And then I got my mind into it. I started seeing, you know, chakras, but mainly it was the breath. And it was counting with the breath. They got down there, and y'all, within 10 minutes when they came back, my blood pressure was 107 over 67. Now,
Wow.
that's probably not that good to be that friggin' low, but
No,
I said this stuff works. It really works, even with major stress. So I just had to say that whole body kind of it came to me in a time of stress, and it worked. So I'm feeling pretty good today.
Good.
Oh, man, thank you
And
for that.
it is something. So thought that fit to share today.
It
Thank you.
does a great testimonial, and I love to share those with my classes if that's okay.
Okay, thank you.
Oops, sorry. Yeah, we're done. You can go home now.
Yep. On that note.
Yeah, no, just kidding.
I have a whole lot going on right this minute, and I was having a little trouble staying present. But the moments when I could come back to being present were really such a gift to ground me and just remind me that even when there's a lot going on, I can get back to that space and to that energy, and to just be more mindful of doing that regularly.
Good.
Right.
Good.
Right.
So I want to call your attention to a line that he had in there. I don't know if you caught it, that when we look in functional MRIs, and you can begin to see with advanced meditators that the place where we separate ourselves from our environment begins to weaken. All right. You need to listen to that, because this is where love happens. Okay. Because as long as you're continuing to think of yourself, this is the essence of Buddhist teaching. As long as you continue to think of yourself as a separate self, you're going to suffer. And there is a way to feel your connection, not only with another person, and dissolve that sense of separation, which a lot of us have in moments of deep intimacy, where, as Rumi says, statements like I or you no longer make any difference. But it's also possible to happen with your body, a sense of separation from your body and your body's separation from the world. There's no separation. The separation is a mental construct. Looked at from an energy perspective, there's no separation. There's a continuum, electromagnetic continuum out there, which we participate in. Stay open to the possibility of experiencing that directly. You know, we say the words, but we don't know what the words mean until you feel that disillusion. And not in the sense of when we go to sleep and we lose the sense of self, but a sense of loss of self with full awareness and connection with your body, your emotion, all of that stuff being present. Very different kind of experience. So, again, look for those places where you get lost and see if you can stay awake enough to experience that moment. Does that make any sense? Someone would said something that triggered that, but
well, it helps me, that's to have these reasons to practice daily, because we've heard it all before, learned it all before, but then still have this sort of lack of deep reason to practice daily, and like understanding that stuff in my mind. It's like, oh, I got it, but it doesn't make a hill of beans unless you directly experience what you're just talking about. Mm-hmm. And the only way to directly experience it, for me anyway, or with any kind of significance, is practicing daily in meditation or yoga or whatever. And I mean, I try to do it in daily life, but it doesn't work in the mind as much as like immersion.
Mm-hmm. Well, and that's why, like Beth's experience of being out in nature, where you're really in that matrix in a way that you're not when we're sitting in this room right here, cut off from a lot of that natural energy. But think about times, and he talked about this when he said the poem, I sat there, the bird disappeared, the cloud disappeared, all that was left was me and the mountain, and then it was just the mountain, okay? And realize the amount of awareness that was containing that mountain at that place. So who am I? I'm that emptiness. When we talk about mindfulness, it's really mind emptiness, because we are an emptiness, a no thing. And then when we are no thing, the world fills us. Then we're full of the world. And that's what traditional Christian language was about, being filled with God. When I let go of self-will, when I let go of thinking about myself, when I'm empty, I become a vessel for the totality of life to come in.
That seems like another dimension.
It is.
I mean, it seems so far away from the reality we experience day to day. It seems like, but I mean that in a positive like when you get in it seems like another dimension, and like how in the world do you actually like live there?
Okay. And the thing is that I keep reminding people, these techniques were developed by martial artists, where the person in front of you is trying to kill you. And they say, this is the safest place for you to be, is in that no mind. Because that's where that response ability, that capacity to respond without having to, how many times when life, I don't know how many LSU fans there are out here. We had a coach, Les Miles, for a while. Les would have a game plan. And if the game didn't go according to his game plan, he was totally tranced out on the sideline. He couldn't shift into a different game plan. And so often when life emerges, we have those emergencies. How many of you have trouble shifting out of your game plan? I was walking by a construction site in Chicago, and one of those big things that they put cement in. It's got a funnel, a little lever on the bottom. They pour the concrete into forms. It hung up on the 16th floor of a building, and it fell right where I was standing. I heard the guys go, "Look out." And being an oil field worker, I'd jump between two cars, cover my head instead of looking up, or I'd be dead. And I'm covered with concrete and bleeding. And so they're talking to me, filling out insurance forms and stuff. And I was going to meet this person at this exclusive place. And all I
And you're
could think
covered
of,
in
and I'm
concrete.
covered in concrete, and I think I'll just have to explain to him that I had an accident on the way over. It took me forever to be able to say, "Go home and clean up," and let him know you couldn't make it in. And you find that
Couldn't shift out of your plan.
yeah, that's happening to us all the time. So what would happen if you didn't have something that you had to let go of and grieve as you move through your day?
What would happen if you didn't have something to let go of and grieve? I don't understand the question.
That's no plan. There's nothing out there that's not supposed to be happening. There's no emotional shift, no mental shift required.
Oh, now I understand your question.
Yeah.
What if there was nothing to grieve?
Because anytime we have a loss, it's a grief, but whether we call it that or not. Okay, how are we doing on time?
We're good.
But I also am finding that loss and grief can be holding the same space with joy and positive anticipation. And all of those things can take me out of the moment or whatever, but that those they aren't mutually exclusive. And they're very powerful emotions, all of those, and taking time to just be is very helpful to take me out of the because they take up those emotions take a lot of energy, they burn a lot of energy. And so yeah, taking time to just be helps get me back to close to zero. I'm never at zero, but close to here.
Jerry, I was thinking the same thing yesterday, you know, how the heart can hold joy and sadness at the same time. It's kind of amazing that those feelings can both exist at the same time.
Would anyone like to venture a guess as to why that's possible?
Awareness that
She's
they're
just-
both present.
Okay.
I think it's an opening of the heart.
Okay. So let's go back to what Cherry said. She said it takes a lot of energy to feel all that stuff. It is energy. It doesn't take energy. It is energy. So you've got this emotion that's triggered. What is an emotion? Emotion's a chemical reaction in your body in response to your environment. That's why people say that's the right thing to feel. Stupidest question that we ask. If you're feeling it, obviously it's appropriate. The question is it being generated by life or is it being generated by your thought? So as long as it's something that's being generated not by my compulsive thought patterns. It's my authentic response to my environment. Then we resist it. Now you got a problem because it takes energy to resist energy. So what most of us are doing all day long is we're sitting on a ton of unfelt and unexpressed emotions. That's exhausting. And when we finally allow the emotions the freedom and the space to express themselves, and I'm sure we're going to be getting to that in a while, then we get a boost in energy because one, now I've got this source of energy, but the energy I've been using to repress it also becomes available. So at the level, here I've got the sadness, here I've got the fear. This, as you're beginning to see, a category of being is where my joy is. Now, pleasure is different from joy. Joy is that kind of capacity that's almost an ironic perspective on our lives, where you can look at it and go, ain't that some fucking shit? Which is my favorite spiritual phrase. You can borrow it. It's a great attitude to approach your life with. And when we get to that place, then we can encompass all the tragedy, all the sadness, all the other things with an equanimity. So that's why I said, look at the difference between being and feelings, because they're not the same thing. They're not happening in your brain in the same place. So we're always trying to change the feelings. The more you're striving, the more you're stuck to the feelings, right? The way out of the feelings is to release the feelings and then begin to shift to this ventral place instead of the trying to feel better or trying to be a better person. You are a better person than you know.
Shift to your body.
And that was the other part. Neuroscience is calling the body the right brain. Okay. That when you look at what's mapped on your right brain, it's your body. So when you're coming into your body, you're doing some hemispherical integration. So all the emotional upset is happening over here, the rational brain here. Here, coming in is really shifting into a different hemisphere. So look for that kind of writing. I think you'll find it fascinating. How many of you have ever seen that map of the body where they've got the body parts mapped onto the hemisphere of the brain? Here's the foot. You've seen it. Yeah. It's fun stuff. Okay.
Amy says that all the time. Amy's like, okay, so right here is,
Yeah.
Here, I'm going to push on this. This is your whatever. Yeah.
This is a gal. There's a thing in fascia work that they discovered called fascia trains, and they're connections between different parts of your fascia. And the way they're mapped out in individuals are starting to figure this out. So she and I go to the same occupational therapist to begin undoing chronic tension in the body. This gal's amazing. It's an amazing technology for any of you with chronic pain, whether it's physical or emotional trauma. Let's go ahead and wrap up. We're in Father Kennedy's retreat this weekend, so believe it or not, they went on without us. How did they do that?
Wait, where is
Can't
the
imagine
retreat?
how they did not feel that great loss in the.
I know. She should have alerted them to something.
It's on Zoom, Beth.
Oh, okay.
It's on Zoom this weekend.
Gotcha,
We
gotcha.
did it live, but
Got-
yeah. Okay. Well, let's take a deep breath in. Unmute your devices if you like. Inhale.
Go dogs. Go dogs. Go dogs.
Thank you,
Love you all.
everybody.
Thank you.
See you next week.
Guys,
Love you guys. Have a good weekend.
you too.
Enjoy the retreat.
Thank you. Yay.
Yay. Ah.
Got a set. Hi. Hey, Guy.
Howdy.
Good. How are you?
Good. Sitting at home.
Yeah. Home for a while. Okay. Does that feel good?
Yeah, it's quite nice. I get to hang out with the pilot.
I know. How's that going?
Good. He had his first solo last Tuesday.
All right. Wow.
Yes.
Nice.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. They it's a tradition, but I never did it. They they cut your t-shirt or they cut your shirt. It's almost like they cutting your wings or something like that. It's in the tradition or whatever. So they normally like in a lot of these flight schools, you'll see all these kids' t-shirts up on the wall and they have a drawing of a runway or something like that. And anyways, my instructor never did it. He was a jerk. But
Sure.
but Tanner Porter's instructor did it with him, and then he brought it home. And actually, Kim had it framed, and so that was cool. I thought it was cool. She's been really supportive of him, so that's been nice to see. So he's, but anyway, so this week he flew a bunch, and then he's. Now they're spending a bunch of time in the classroom because they got to catch up. You know, the flying part's it's fun and all, but there's a lot more to it.
Yeah.
Right. That is very
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
Oh,
Good.
yeah. So fun. Well, good. So he's still got a ways to go.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he'll just go into like his cross country phase now. They've been doing landings and maneuvers and stalls and steep turns and stuff like that. Now they'll go into navigation, and so
Okay.
Sure.
that'll be the next phase, and some night flying too.
Yeah.
Which will be cool. So my sister sent him gotta have a special red flashlight for the cockpit, or blue or green.
Yeah.
Anyways, so yeah, that's good. And I actually was back in Connecticut earlier in the week. I had my old roommate from college died of cancer, and so I was up in Connecticut. He got diagnosed in early January, and then was dead the Porter's birthday, May 29th. So really unfortunate and sad and really shocking because he didn't tell anybody. It was his wish to not let anyone know, and so there was it was all of us who lived with him and hung out with him daily and talked to him regularly. Nobody knew, which was crazy. So anyway, so that was super sad. Except that in the same sentence. The funeral was the most fun I've had in a long, long time, and which is a great testament to him because that's the kind of guy he was. And so it was great to be back in Connecticut and with all my old Bucknell friends and a lot of high school friends too and stuff like that. So it was sad for that moment, but it was really not sad, and so that's good.
That is good. That is good. I'm sorry it happened. I've had the same experience with funerals being a way to reconnect
Oh yeah, definitely.
and a positive thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I think, as Americans in our typical, I mean, we handle funerals so terribly. People around the world do
Yeah.
such, there's grieving periods, and there's, the Irish do it one way and the Italians do it another, and whatever. And there's ways to handle all that, but bringing everybody together is really important. It was awesome. It was great. In fact, so much so that I'm really considering, when Porter leaves next year, my plan was to probably go to Florida. Nothing really keeping me here in Charlotte. My plan was to go to Florida, at least for the beginning part of it. But so much so that I was like, what am I doing not being with these people all the time? That's my jam. That's my place. And so it was kind of an eye opener, and was really heavy force on me while I was there. And it was cool because I thought, well, you know, um, it's important to pay attention to that stuff. And you only get one shot around the merry-go-round, which I say to you guys all the time. And you never know when you're going to get kicked off the merry-go-round.
Yeah.
So why not be in a place where it would be great? So I, obviously want to be here with Porter for the next year while he goes through a senior year, but then we'll see.
Well, another good outcome then from the
Exactly.
Well, I hate
Yeah, really good.
Yeah, we'll let you guys get back to your meditation.
We have a retreat this weekend, so unfortunately we're gonna check out and zoom in on another screen, but we're so glad you showed up. So
Yeah.
keep showing up if you can.
I know, I'm part of a men's group at church, and I've been there once this year. So that's just how it goes sometimes.
I know. Tell Porter how proud we are of him.
Indeed.
I know, he called my father the day that he soloed, because I was in Connecticut for that. And he was he was super excited. It was cool.
Very cool. Very cool.
All right. Love you all.
Love you all so much.
Bye.
Great weekend.
Bye-bye.
Bye.